This video is sponsored by Squarespace. On this channel, I'm interested in training that will actually make you more formidable, combining strength training with movement, athleticism, and quick thinking, so that you can perform like a badass ninja. Why? Because it's cool and fun. This is what it is to be super functional, and it's been fascinating working out what really makes a difference for the average person who wants to perform more like a superhero. That's why for the last several years, I've been making videos about training like Batman. I love this topic because Batman serves as a thought experiment. How would you train in order to be the most well-rounded athlete? To be strong, agile, durable, and tactical? And how could we take those principles to create a training style for the masses that does more than just build big biceps?
But as I said in a previous video, I'm taking a break from the Batman training videos for now because I've made a lot of them and because topping the one I did last is going to be something of a massive project. I'm saving that for my 1 million subscriber video, so if you want to see that, then make sure you're subscribed. Today, we're talking about training like his wayward protege, the Red Hood. The Red Hood, Jason Todd, is basically what you get when you take Batman and remove the filter. He's Batman but angrier, more ferocious, more violent, more lethal, willing to use firearms. Firearms training is a little bit outside my wheelhouse, so it's not something I'm going to go into in depth here, but we are going to talk a little bit about the situational awareness, sports vision, reflexes, calm and control that comes with firearms training, and we're going to discuss some of the ways that we can train those things without the use of guns. At the same time, this training needs to reflect that violent and desperate nature of the Red Hood. Whereas Batman is more of a tank, he tends to come up with strategies and then pick off his opponents one by one using fear and intimidation. The Red Hood is more of an in-the-moment tactician. He responds to the situation on the fly using firearms and a brutal flurry of attacks. His fast and unrelenting aggression is what makes him a contender against the likes of Batman, despite being physically smaller and somewhat weaker. So to incorporate this into our training, we're going to be doing a lot of what I've been talking about recently on this channel, and that's strength and conditioning. A lot of training that forces us to go fast for long periods of time without tiring out, maintaining mental fortitude, moving in multiple planes of motion, and doing all this with a kind of intensity that many people won't be able to keep up with.
As with the Batman routines, the focus of this training should be cross-modality. However, we're going to shift the balance slightly towards explosiveness, aggression, and endurance.
In a real life or death situation, it's rarely about being able to lift something really heavy once and put it back down. So your max strength isn't as important as you might think. And if you're a vigilante, it's about chasing people down across rooftops, engaging in extended fistfights, dropping down into alleyways, maybe ripping open a door and then continuing the fight. It's about being able to exert that kind of force, that kind of tactical decision making, the psychomotor vigilance for an extended period of time. And so we're going to be programming things like med ball slams, kettlebell swings, battle ropes, jump rope, rope climbing, all kinds of movements that you can do for high repetitions whilst also exerting force. We'll program this in a kind of circuit manner, and we're going to be doing it in a way that targets different muscles throughout the body. These are compound functional movements. We're not standing on the spot curling a weight, we're climbing a rope, because that's the sort of thing you might actually have to do if you want to train like an action hero. This is going to utilize more muscles and get you tired out more quickly, and especially if we switch from training the upper body to the lower body quickly, which forces the body to shunt the blood from the top to the bottom of the body, further increasing that cardio demand. This is something I talked about in a very recent video, high intensity functional training, and this is what we're going to be building this program around.
Something that's important when you're doing this kind of training is to really attack the movements with ferocity. That means to kick through as quickly and as powerfully as you can, to have powerful and fast intent, and to extend those kicks all the way, not to cut them short.
That said, I'm also going to include a few slower core exercises right at the end of the workouts, like the L-sit and handstand, to build core stability and control. Jason did start off as a Robin after all, and acrobatics and body awareness are key.
What's also really important is to consider your strength to weight ratio. It's one thing to be very strong, but it's another if you're also so heavy that you struggle going up the stairs without getting out of breath, that you can't jump that high. Whilst maximum strength does translate to athletic performance, we want to try and gain as much strength as possible without also piling on extra weight. One way we do this is by learning to control our bodies and to exert more power and force by combining the muscles, by using them correctly in unison and giving ourselves more coordination to express that strength. Of course, calisthenics exercises are excellent for this. We can also do it through things like isometrics.
But as I said at the top, this channel represents a journey, as I've tried to learn what really makes all the difference in performance. And the truth is that what you do in the gym is only a very small part of that. Learning skills and taking on new practices is what will really make the huge difference. As we know, Jason Todd is a highly trained martial artist, an amazing acrobat, a marksman, and so much more. If you want to perform in the same way, then I highly recommend that you combine this intense training with a number of skills. In particular, attending a martial arts class 1 or 2 days of the week, or training alone, if that's not an option, practicing parkour or rock climbing, maybe learning a skill like juggling. This will make a huge difference to your overall performance. Obviously, if we're training like Jason Todd, then we'd also want to consider things like paintball maybe, or airsoft, or even laser quest, something that's going to train us with that marksmanship and target practice, situational awareness. But even less obviously connected options like dance, gymnastics or swimming can have a huge crossover benefit for you. Martial arts is my top pick, I think, as it teaches you to generate power from your body while developing balance, core strength and mobility, especially in the hips. And this isn't how most people train at the gym. A lot of people train to get stronger, or they build this cardio, but they don't have anything to do with it. They're training for this performance, but they're not actually honing any particular skills. I don't know anything about firearms, it's way outside of my wheelhouse and it wasn't something I particularly wanted to research for this video, but what I can tell you is that this kind of training does have a number of other benefits. It teaches you to be calm and focused, even under stress. It teaches physical discipline, as you need to maintain a composed stance. And it teaches decision making under stress. But the good news is that we can train for similar benefits without needing to invest in an actual weapon. So the aim here is to train the brain in the way that teaches tactical decision making and focus under extreme stress. We're looking at a few things in particular then. One is psychomotor vigilance. You've heard me talk about this one before. This is the ability to continue operating at a very high level, even when physically and mentally fatigued. This is a huge factor to consider for special forces, high-level athletes and others. In MMA, a fight is often lost once the fighter becomes sluggish or zones out. Training psychomotor vigilance can be achieved by training with cognitively demanding activities at a point where you're already feeling fatigued and exhausted, or even highly stressed. We can incorporate this into our high-intensity functional training routine by using brain training tasks during recovery between rounds. This is where things like juggling can come in useful, which is also great for training working memory and sports vision. Sports vision being essentially your ability to take in lots of information and then keep it in your mind's eye. This might mean being aware of where multiple targets are located in a given scenario as you're moving around the area. I've made videos on this in the past. Check out my John Wick training video if you want to learn more about this kind of thing. Juggling will only take you so far. There are plenty of other options for brain training. For example, you could invest in more expensive and high-tech solutions, such as the various light-based reflex trainers. These turn on and off and you have to tap them in a certain sequence. Either way, performing these challenges while fatigued between bouts will help you to stay sharpest when you need to be. A bonus of these software-based cognitive training options is that they incorporate action inhibition. This means not only reacting to signals, but also knowing when not to react, inhibiting that reaction when you need to. This is crucially important, as in a high-stress situation, the equivalent would be knowing when to hold fire when faced with a hostage, for example. In one study, professional athletes showed improved performance on a stop signal task. This kind of training has also been shown to potentially reduce civilian casualties when performed by military personnel. But again, this becomes much more difficult when extremely fatigued, or when under stress. In fact, psychomotor vigilance is often measured by the number of false positives during these stop-go tasks. This highlights the amount of mental energy actually involved in inhibiting action. Interestingly, meditation has also been shown to enhance psychomotor vigilance. We can end our sessions with a bout of meditation, therefore.
Another cool test for challenging these kinds of skills is something called the hooded box test. So here what you do is you take your combatant and you place them in a room and then put a hood or a box over their head, as the name suggests. They will then have the hood or the box removed at an undefined time, and when it comes off, they have to react to the situation in front of them rapidly and precisely. This might mean taking out multiple opponents, using target prioritization, using quick thinking and reflexes, or it might be an old lady asking for the time, in which case action inhibition is the #1 key here because you don't want to shoot the old lady. This is a grueling and intense test that trains everything from situational awareness to target prioritization, from sports vision to aim to reflexes to mental fortitude. It's not something we can very easily do on our own, but if you want to submit yourself to this kind of thing and you have a group of friends, I suppose it's possible. The closest we can do is to use a number of tools designed to train these same skills and abilities.
So flashing up on the screen right now is the full Red Hood workout. This is a high-intensity functional training circuit, and I'll include a link to this in the description down below where you can find more detailed instructions talking about the rest times, etc. And remember, we're going to be supplementing this with skills training, such as martial arts and boxing, rock climbing and parkour, or archery. Now, this workout might seemingly lack much in terms of strength development, but the truth is that it can help you to develop more of the speed, explosiveness, endurance, and ferocity that actually translates into performance. Batman is the tank. Red Hood can't match him for pure strength. But as any martial artist will show you, real power comes from technique, while endurance and psychology are what will often determine the outcome of any contest. This is something that's recognised throughout the world's militaries and special operations units. Rather than focusing on bodybuilding or powerlifting, these groups focus instead on mental toughness, endurance and technique. This is true for the US and UK military, it's true for Navy SEALs, it was even true for the likes of the Spartan Warriors. One organisation I looked into whilst researching this article was the French National Gendarmerie Intervention Group, or GIGN. This special operations unit focuses on counter-terrorism and hostage rescue, utilising a combination of marksmanship, tactical decision-making, psychological preparation and more. The operatives learn mental toughness and they're challenged to develop decision-making skills under pressure. In short, if you're interested in being a badass warrior like Jason Todd, focusing purely on heavy lifts or doing lots and lots of cardio, steady state, is barking up the wrong tree. That said, it's when we combine those things with everything we discussed here that we get Batman. But that's a conversation for the 1 million subscriber video. But until then, if you want a more in-depth training routine that combines strength training, calisthenics, functional training and much more, which can progress to any level, adapt to any amount of equipment, and comes with tons of in-depth information about human performance, then check out my ebook and training program, Super Functional Training 2.0. That comes with an 85+ page ebook and over 2 hours of instructional video. You'll find a link in the description down below. Either way, thanks a ton for watching, guys, and bye for now.
This video was sponsored by Squarespace. Squarespace is a website building platform that makes it easy for anybody to build their own website. With Squarespace, you can have your site up and running in literal minutes. Just choose from a ready-made template and then customize it to your liking. Move elements around the screen with an intuitive drag and drop system, and then set it live once you're happy with it. It's that easy. This way, anybody can create their own website. Tech skill is no longer a barrier, and this is something anyone can benefit from, whether you want to share your ideas with the world as a hobby, showcase your talents, or launch a business. From there, a website built with Squarespace is endlessly expandable thanks to a huge array of features. From advanced publishing tools to fully integrated commenting system with threaded comments, replies and likes, to seamless social media integration that lets you display your feeds on your site or share your content across all the major platforms. There's member management, analytics and SEO, or the option to feature gated members-only content for easy revenue generation, or, of course, comprehensive e-commerce tools. And with plugins, you can expand these features even further, adding things like inventory management, global shipping, advanced accounting and much, much more. Visit squarespace.com to learn more, or when you're ready to launch, head to squarespace.com/pioneer and you'll get 10% off your first domain or website. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video, and thanks to you guys. Bye for now. Batman!